Good morning. Well, I'm here at a chicken farm in Tooradin, which is southeast of Melbourne. Now, at this particular farm, there are about 300 hens in this 1 hectare paddock and a few alpacas too, which I'm actually told are for the foxes. But the number of hens here falls well under the current recommendations of 1,500 hens per hectare. But of course, there's a big debate at the moment about whether that should be lifted. The Australian Egg Corporation wants that to be lifted to 20,000 hens per hectare, saying that will help keep egg prices down. Now, joining me now is Phil Westwood from the Australian Free Range Egg and Poultry Association. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Kirsten.
Now, you don't agree with the Australian Egg Corporation, do you? Why is that?
No, we certainly don't. We believe the 1,500 per hectare stocking density should be maintained as the free range standard. Anything higher than that can't be called free range in our view.
Why is that? What does free range mean?
Well, free range means the chickens have free access to pasture. If you have a big stocking density, then there'll be no grass left. The farm would be either a dust bowl or a mud bath, depending on the time of year.
I understand this kind of practice is only voluntary anyway, so does it really matter?
Well, yes, we think it matters. It's voluntary in most states. In Queensland, it has been regulated that 1,500 birds per hectare is the maximum density you can have on a free-range farm. There is legislation in the South Australian Parliament, which we're hoping will pass, and in the New South Wales Parliament, which we hope will pass. And if that comes to be, then 1,500 per hectare will be the maximum density allowed on a free-range farm.
There are currently a lot of free-range farms or farms classified as being free-range that have a lot more than 1,500 though, aren't there?
Yes, the Egg Corporation has acknowledged that about a third of all the eggs sold in supermarkets labelled as free-range are actually from intensive farms, running anything up to about 40,000 birds per hectare. So they're claiming that their 20,000 per hectare limit is actually an improvement on the current system, which we think is scandalous.
Do you agree with the Egg Corporation that, the market for free-range eggs has grown and production needs to be lifted, otherwise the costs could be driven up?
Well, definitely there is a shortage of genuine free-range eggs, there's no question about that, but the answer is not to increase the stocking density, because then you're producing eggs that are purely labelled as free-range, but they're not actually free-range. The thing to do is to encourage more people to get into true free-range farming.
What about the argument that we could be relying on imports if we don't produce more?
I don't think that's a valid argument. I think we can produce enough. It's a matter of encouraging farmers to set up the right sort of farms at the right stocking density.
What is so important about having free-range eggs?
From a farm perspective, it's the sustainable practices. At the stocking density that the Egg Corporation is proposing, the farm would not be sustainable. There would be no grass, there would be pollution of watercourses, there would be an enormous problem for the sustainability of the farm.
So what are you campaigning for? Would you like to see some national legislation federally?
Ideally, that would be the answer. If the federal government were to legislate 1,500 birds per hectare as the maximum density for free-range production, that would be our best solution. But the next best is for the states to actually take that action.
How controversial is this topic among farmers?
It's very controversial. The Egg Corporation's been trying to push this through for 2 years now without success. They're claiming they're close to doing it, but we don't believe they are. We don't think they will get this intensive standard through.
Why is that?
Because there is such industry opposition to it. The free-range farmers throughout Australia are united in their opposition to this proposal. It's only the big corporations that want this to happen because they can make more profits.
Thank you very much for joining me this morning, Phil. It's Phil Westwood from the Australian Free Range Egg and Poultry Association. And now I believe it's time to collect the eggs.